Okay guys, I just loaded the content for today's class and I'll be back on in 10 minutes. But I left the chat open if you want to use the chat. I didn't leave the tools today. I'll talk to you in a few minutes. Okay guys, try and remember to run your audio setup wizard to make sure that you can hear, and I'm just going to go offline and do mine, and we'll start the class in 2 minutes. So hopefully you've all done that. Thanks. Okay guys, the class says, the clock up there says 3:58. The online clock says 4, so I'm going to assume, just a second, that we're pretty much ready to go at this point. You can see I'm still here in the lovely Yorkson Creek classroom, and now I'm going to take myself off video. Remember that you can always use your personal profile under preferences and set a picture if you want to. Okay, I'm going to go to our first screen. I'm going to leave that up for a second. Just I know that you've all got a paper and a pencil, but some people have been asking me about whether or not they could set the web page for the online quizzes. This is the actual main page for the online quizzes, and there aren't any spaces, and there's no new lines. It just doesn't all fit on one line in my class. So it's www.nelson.com/mathfocus/grade 7 /teacher tryout.html number 3, and that will give you chapter 3's quizzes. I'm just going to close the door because the kids across the way are just getting done. So I'm going to leave that up for an extra second just so you guys can write it down. I have been trying to get ready to get out of here as soon as I'm done today. So I'm trying to be organized for once. Okay, so I'll leave it up there for about another 10 or 15 seconds, and then we'll move on to the lesson because now the clock here says 4 o'clock too, so we're just about ready to go. Okay guys, we're ready to go. So the first thing is, oh, you know why my voice is squeaky for some of you? Is because we've had a windstorm today, and I think that sometimes that disrupts the cell towers, and that's how data is sometimes fed on the wireless networks. So if you're watching or listening on a phone or an iPad today, I might sound a little like Minnie Mouse. Believe me, I'm not. What happens is the computer is going slow, and then all of a sudden I'll catch up. So that's why I get squeaky. It's just a bit of a lag in your system. Okay, so I'm going to move off the quizzes. If you want this afterwards, I can load it into the chat. Okay, so here we go. Today's lesson is pretty easy, and it's basically a review. So the thing is, we're going to be looking at order of operations today. And order of operations is just one of those rules that you have to learn in math, and it's a rule that is always used in math. And I think that we can figure out why. It's so that we can be assured of getting the same answer from person to person when we do a question. So let's consider the question 16 times 15.9 plus 36 divided by 4. 36.4 divided by 4. Okay, do you have to do what, Shalma? Put a picture on? Oh, no, you don't have to do the quiz, guys. Some people like that because it gives them some instant feedback at the end of each little unit in the book. The nice thing about that quiz is that for every section in Math Focus, when we do a lesson, they do a little online quiz. So if you want to test yourself before you get to the end of a unit to make sure that you've understood things well enough to get the answers right, it's all multiple choice, so it's not a lot of work, but it just gives you a little heads up. So let's think about this question, 6 times 15.9 plus 36.4 divided by 4. Now let's try doing that, first of all, just straight across. So if you've got a calculator, can you do that straight across and see what answer you get? I'll wait to see some of them go into the chat box. I know you guys are all scared of talking. I always set it so it can have more than one person talking, but nobody ever talks. Anybody get an answer on their calculator? Steven says he got 104.5. Aubrey got 32.95. And this is why we're getting different answers, is because we're probably doing them in different orders. So there's quite a few possible answers. I'm just going to, sorry, my calculator's right across the room. So the first way, let's do it straight across, just on your calculator. So a bunch of people are getting 104.5. So 6 times 15.9 is, my calculator, is 95.4. And if I add 36.4, I get 131.8. And if I divide that by 4, I get 32.95. So when you go straight across, that's exactly what you get. Now, lots of us know that the first thing that we're going to do here is the multiplication. And why not the division first? Does anybody know that? Why not, Haley? Oh, she just put her hand up for her. Katie, you too. I don't know if you're trying to put your hand up or not. So the reason we do the multiplication first is because we do all the brackets and exponents first, then division and multiplication, then all the addition and subtraction go left across. So we would do the 95.4 on the first one first, and then 36.4 divided by 4, which is 9.1. And we get our answer 104.5. So lots of you know already what the order of operations is. It doesn't matter what math we're using, whether we're using fractions or decimals, whether we're using integers, which is positive and negative numbers, which we'll get into after Christmas, or whether we're using whole numbers. We always do it in the same order. So brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. And I've written it down right below. Do the operations in the brackets first, because we don't do exponents in grade 7 anymore. Next, we divide and multiply from left to right. And finally, we add and subtract from left to right. So what order would we do first in the equation I've given before, 3 times 2 plus 7 minus 3, what would happen first? Type it in once you know the answer. William says 3 times 2. The rest of you are having a nap. Here we go. Well, I see some people writing. Callum's 3 times 2. Caden, Stephen. So lots of people agreeing with me, yes. So if we start at the left side, there are no brackets or exponents. The first thing we come across is a multiplication. And remember, it wouldn't matter if it was division or multiplication. They get done in the order from left to right across. So once we've done that, then what are we going to do? K2, maybe. So Caden said 7 minus 3. So does Callum. What are we left with after we do that? We are left with 6 plus 7 minus 3. So I'm going to type that in because that's what I think we're left with after we do the multiplication. 6 plus 7 minus 3. Now that that's our equation, what do you think we do next? Stephen says 6 plus 7. Yep. So does Lexi. She knows what's going on. Just actually get the answer. Okay. So we do the 6 plus 7, and it's really important that we don't do 7 minus 3 first, because if we do 6 plus 7, we get 13, and then we get 13 minus 3, which equals 10. Now, what happens if we do it the other way? So a bunch of people said that we should do 6, but then we should do the 7 minus 3, so that would end up being 6 plus 4. And 6 plus 4 equals 10, so I guess it works that time. Doesn't always work. I'm pretty sure. Now I have to check that for sure. But you're supposed to start on the left-hand side of the equation and go left to right. I didn't notice that worked before. All right. Let's do one together, then you can try one of the others. And I haven't put in decimals deliberately. I want us to get this down pat, and then I'm going to give you the decimal questions for homework, because it's exactly the same order. So what are we going to do in this very first question first? Any thoughts on that one? I hope you can all see it. Stephen says 6 minus 2. Anybody else with him? Yep. Callum says 6 minus 2. So I'm thinking that's probably what we need to do, is 6 minus 2. Okay, good. So we're going to do the brackets. So the first thing we're going to do is 6 minus 2. And I'm going to make this bigger so you can see it. So we're going to do 6 minus 2, which is 4. Make this a little bigger. Something went bad on my computer, so we're going to do, let's use the pen. You guys will have to put up with my penmanship again. Okay, so we do 6 minus 2, which is 4. And then we've got times 2. And then we've got plus 4. And then we've got divided by. And we have to do the other bracket. So 3 plus 1 equals 4. And we leave them outside the brackets once they're solved. So now the next thing that we have to do, if you look at this one, is we would have to do 4 times first here. We do the multiplying because that's the first thing we come across. And then we add 4 divided by 4, which is 1. Now I notice that I left the adding sign in there and I ignored it until after I'm done that level. And then I do my addition and subtraction. So my answer is 9. All right? So what I want you to do is just quickly, using your calculator that you've got with you, because I know you all bring a calculator to class, quickly figure out one of the questions, put the question number and the answer in the chat. So I'm going to let you do that for about a minute. See if you can figure out one of the questions for me. Crashing around my desk. And more crashing. Oh, look at that. I've already got some numbers already, some big ones. Good. I want everybody to do one question quickly and then put it in. Even most of you should be able to do at least one without doing too much calculating. All right. I'm just going to let the answers go in before I tell you anything because I don't want to give away the answers. Let me go down to there. Okay. Okay, here we go. So everybody that's done one that's going to. So let's go through the second one. So we do the brackets first. All right. Brackets first. On 2, so we do 8 times 4 because 2 plus 2 is done first. So the first thing we do is the 4 in the brackets. You get rid of the bracket. 8 times 4 is 32. So everybody that give yourself 32, give yourself a pat on the back. The next one, we have no brackets or exponents for 3. So we do, I'll put in the answers, 3 times 5, which is 15. And then we subtract 12. And 15 minus 12 is 3. So 3 equals 3. The next one, a little trickier. 5 times 3 is 15, minus 1, plus 2. Sorry, minus 1 plus 14, because we do 2 times 7. All right? So 15 minus 1 plus 14. So what it ends up being is 14 plus 14, and that equals 28. So that is 4. I'll put a number 4 so that you know that I'm not just adding extra numbers. And the last one. So we do 6 divided by 2, which is 3. And then we do times 3, which equals 9. And then we do minus 4, which we leave for the next time, plus 21. So then the next one that we have, the next line we have, is 5 plus 21. So number 5 equals 26. No, you don't need to copy them. These were just ones that we were practicing so we could practice bed math, all right? So brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. If you haven't written that down and you don't know it, you should. All right? Order of operations with decimals is exactly the same. No reason for it to be different. So we're going to remember B-E-D-M-A-S, and that's why we always say bed math. It's kind of as if you put it all as one word, brackets, exponents, but there's a comma. Division, multiplication, comma, addition, subtraction. Then you'll always get the right answer, okay? I'm going to give you some homework questions. Now you can pick one of these and do it for class and bring it on Thursday. Now, remember when you're adding, we've got to remember some of the rules here because today I noticed that some people were forgetting some of the things. When we're adding decimals, we have to make sure that we line the decimals up and add them on one on top of the other like we learned in early elementary. When we're multiplying decimals, we count the number of decimal places in the question, and that's how many are in the answer. When we divide decimals, we always make sure the number we're dividing by is a whole number. We move the decimal as many places as we need to on both sides of the equation. And when we're subtracting, we do the same thing as adding. We just line up the decimals and then we subtract as if it's not there. Always try and remember where your decimal goes in the answer because I notice some people are still struggling a little bit with that. So question number 1, as soon as you've got these, you can go today. It's not a long class. 7.2 divided by, and then in brackets, 2.4. Yes, you can get extra brains for zombie food, Stephen. So if you want to be chased by zombies to school, then do them all. Awesome. So divided by 2.4 minus 1.8 in brackets. Second question, make sure you put them all down in the correct order. Decimal 3/8. So that one's hard to see, but there's a decimal right there, people. Decimal 3/8 plus 16.2 times, in brackets, 2.1 plus 4.7. And your last one, 98.5 plus 7, all in brackets, divided by decimal 5. So again, don't forget to see my decimals there. All right. I know some people have already gotten off the room. Last one is just questions. Remember to do your homework, so I'm going to leave this up for a few minutes. And I'll have you know we're done 4 minutes today, earlier than the other days. It's going to be easier some days to get out of here. So as soon as you're done copying down the homework question, then just go away. It's fine. You're allowed. Bye, Aubrey. Have a good night. Bread zombies be the worst, eh? Especially if you had a bread for a head. Brains. Okay, Cameron, you made me have a hacking fit. That's funny. That is hilarious. Don't forget, you guys, you need to sign off. Bye, Stephen. Make sure that you sign off before, bye, Jasmine. It's good, though. Can you have a cookie? Sure, I guess so. Let me see if I can give you a smiley face. There you go. I gave you a smiley face on mine. Bye, Mrs. Fair. Oh, say bye to the dog, Lexi. Have a good night. You too, Haley. You all have a good night. Bye, Manri. See you, Shama. We will catch you on the flip side there, William. You too, Caden. I will see you tomorrow. Bye, guys. You still copying, Kai? Bye, Kai.